Hi, everybody. Doug Miles along with Don Henderson here at Baltimore Orioles headquarters, spring training headquarters in Sarasota. Don, it doesn't seem like a whole year ago since we've been here, but here on Fan Fest Day, where some of the fans get a chance to watch the players working out, and only a week before the first game.
It's Smith Stadium, and of course, everybody looking forward, as you mentioned, Fan Fest today, which is always a big part of it. Spring training always kicks off with some type of celebration, and of course, for the Orioles in this situation, just very, very happy to be back in Sarasota.
A lot of changes, though. New manager, new general manager, Brandon Hyde getting hired in the offseason. Buck Showalter, after being here for so many years, and Dan Duquette, also the GM, both not renewed, let go, whatever you want to say, fired after last season. A terrible season for the Orioles, only 47 and 115, so really a terrible season. They both let go. A lot of staff changes. Mike Elias coming over from the Houston Astros organization is the new GM, so a lot of changes for the Orioles.
Yeah, there are two managers out there that I really thought would catch on, Buck Showalter being one, Joe Girardi being the other, who was fired by the New York Yankees a couple of years ago. So I thought really that Buck would get a lot of activity in the offseason. Maybe he wants to just lay out for a year or wait for the perfect spot to go.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that he's going to do some ESPN, where he was before.
I would imagine they take everybody that was once.
That's a good little fallback position for a lot of these guys.
Very nice.
But Buck did a good job here. But yes, last year just so many injuries. Chris Davis, of course, having just a terrible year. Big contract guy, so he's got to come back this year.
I think he's another one they're looking at because of Harper and Machado. The fact that Davis signed that big contract here with Baltimore, and so many of the big contracts have really been a negative factor. So I can't imagine that. They can call collusion, they can call anything they want to, but big long-term contracts haven't worked.
Speaking of Machado, of course, he has not been signed yet. A former Oriole, we saw him last year during spring training. Of course, Harper, like you mentioned, and really one of the later years that big money free agents have not been signed. And the last few years you've seen that, but this is really the furthest into spring training that we haven't seen big names signed.
Well, I'll be very honest with you. If I were in a GM position or an advisory position, 5 years, 6 years would be the maximum as far as I'm concerned. I just wouldn't. I would have any interest in, especially pitchers. I mean, you get pitchers and signing the big contracts, and maybe 2 of the 5 years they can't pitch.
Yeah, tough to commit to a player. You look at the Albert Pujols contract.
Oh.
I mean, that's the biggest example of a great career with St. Louis, signs the big deal with the Angels, had maybe 1 or 2 decent years, but really they're paying him for stuff he's done 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting now. As I said, the factor of collusion, they're doing the same thing in the National Football League, and they're starting to say the owners are getting together more and more. Well, the Players Association won collusion already.
Right.
Whether they'll win a second or not, I don't know, but we're down to the home stretch. I mean, you got 5 days. And the 2 biggest prospects out there, and also the fact that it's not just those 2. You got 3 Gonzaleses out there. You've got not Machado, but Moustakas out there. You got players all over the place who are really good players and can't sign.
Yeah, it's a changing world. I mean, they're still going to get paid well, but it reached the limit, I think, of what owners are willing to do, at least as far as length of contracts.
We'll see how strong the players are to hold out, because once everybody comes down to spring training and they're looking at the paper and they're not signed, they're going to be all over their agent to get something done.
Yeah, we want to play.
Yeah, we want to play. We only have so many years, and we better get something done.
We'll look forward to hopefully getting a chance to talk with Brandon Hyde. As you mentioned, new manager for the Orioles, did not play in the major leagues, was with the Cubs organization under Joe Madden when they won the championship a couple of years ago. He was the first base coach.
Well, as I said, the bottom line is winning. And there's a lot of criticism over the offseason about what Cash did with the Rays, and one relief pitcher after another relief pitcher after another relief pitcher. And I do think that incorporating the new rule where you got to pitch to at least 3 batters, unless it's the end of an inning, I think that's a very positive sign. I just don't think you can have a guy come in and throw 2-3 pitches or 1 batter, and you got 15 minutes of changing pitchers in 1 inning.
Yeah, that's gotten out of hand the last few years, the length of games because of the pitching changes.
Well, as you and I have talked about many times, if you live in Sarasota and you want to go see the Rays play, you have to leave here at 5 o'clock. The game starts at 7. You don't get out till 10:30 or 11 o'clock. Then you got to drive back to Sarasota on 75 or whatever. And most of these people are 65 and over.
Right.
A lot easier for them to turn the TV on, watch the game, and have a beer they're not going to drive that far, especially late at night.
Yeah, we'll get into some of the Rays talk as we do our reports throughout spring training. There's some news with that. We'll get into that as well. But we're happy to be here and look forward to interesting Orioles spring training. They start the regular spring training games a week from today on the 23rd against the Twins. So that's going to be a big day here.
Ready to go.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again.